things more difficult for her and leaves. On her way to school, she gets even more delayed and runs hurriedly, accidentally bumping into a boy, and they both fall to the ground. Worried if the boy is okay, she quickly hands her bag to a nearby cafe owner and runs off towards the school, jumping over the school wall to enter. Her friend tries to distract the teacher to avoid getting caught, but the teacher catches her anyway and asks her to write an apology letter and read it out loud during the school assembly. Meanwhile, Nanjia also arrives late, but the teacher doesn't punish him, which makes the female lead very angry. She writes the apology letter, but also adds a lie saying she was helping Nanjia, trying to cover up her actions. However, even after all this, the teacher still makes her apologize in the end. Later, while in class, she sits quietly, but then approaches Nanjia with a math question. Nanjia, silent till now, is asked by the math teacher to solve the question, which he does perfectly. The scene then shifts to the English class, where Nanjia quickly finishes his paper and leaves. Meanwhile, the female lead, feeling hungry, finishes early too, and tries to sneak out to eat. After eating, she tries to climb back over the school wall, but bumps into a boy who accuses her of following him. She denies it, saying it's not her fault, but when he notices a pendant around her neck, he grabs her hand to stop her. In defense, she turns around and punches him, causing a commotion, and as a punishment, she is assigned to clean the school pond for a week. While cleaning, she hears a noise and finds Nanjia there too. As she approaches him, both of them fall into the pond. A flashback reveals that Nanjia once gave a pendant exactly like hers to a girl a long time ago. That's why he tried to talk to her. After helping her out of the pond, he offers her a towel to dry off. In the next scene, the female lead's friend apologizes for not being able to help her earlier and then teases her, suggesting that maybe Nanjia likes her because he helped her. Embarrassed, she messages back, saying it's not his fault and that he wasn't really helping her, without adding anything extra. Then she remembers the memory that belonged to Nanjia, and we understand that they knew each other in childhood. The next day in class, the teacher announces that there will be an English representative, and the teacher convinces her a lot, while Hui, who didn't want to become one, couldn't do anything about it. After that, we see that she falls asleep in class and has a dream, but in reality, Nanjia comes near her. Seeing the scar on her favorite spot, he realizes that she is his childhood friend. But when Hui realizes that Nanjia is actually in front of her, she gets scared and runs away. Later at the cafe, she meets Mr. Li, talks with him a little, and gives him her number before leaving, and Nanjia sees this from behind and notes it too. When she reaches home, her brother tries to stop her from going inside, but she goes in anyway. Inside, her teacher is sitting with her mom, discussing her becoming the English representative. After they leave, her mom tells her to send bread, but Hui refuses clearly, causing an argument between them. They agree that if Hui scores more than 90% in the next semester, she won't be forced. In her room, someone called Mr. X starts messaging her. She thinks it's Mr. Li because she had given him her number, and she starts chatting. The next day, she is studying in class when two boys come and tease her about how she can even study like this. She tells them the full story. During lunch, the second female lead is introduced, and they talk about how Nanjia's test might not be that difficult. Hui says it won't be anything like that and tells them to let her eat. The scene shifts, and in class, the teacher makes Hui stand and asks her to continue reading. Hui doesn't know where to read from, so Nanjia helps her. After reading, Hui wonders how she will continue studying, feeling hurt inside. Her friend tells her that she doesn't have any other option. Later at night, we see Nanjia sitting alone and talking to himself, saying, "Little well, you don't even remember me." When Rohit comes to class, there's no one there, so she decides to study. She opens a drone containing her test materials, finds some notes, and starts studying. After a while, her friends come and hug her, saying now she will definitely score more than 90%. She tells them about the notes. Her friend says maybe there's someone who values her a lot and has left those notes for her. Just then, Teacher Li enters and asks Hui to submit her copies. She quickly goes around collecting everyone's copies. When she sees Nanjia's handwriting, she praises it, saying it's really beautiful. After that, the three friends think they should find out who this secret helper of Hui is. A blank scene shows that the one leaving the notebook on Hui's desk was none other than Nanjia himself. Days pass like this, and Hui keeps finding notes, helping her study better. Finally, on exam day, when the three friends meet, Rohit says surely now she will score more than 90%. When she sits, she reminds him that it's not his seat, but he tells her that it actually is. After the exam, Hui realizes that she forgot her eraser, so she asks Nanjia for his answers, and he gives them to her. After submitting the exam sheet, Hui remembers that she forgot to write her name, so she goes to return Nanjia's eraser. She ends up returning Nanjia's clothes and talks to him about changing classes, but he doesn't respond. Then a boy comes in, claiming to be Young's boyfriend, and tells Nanjia to stay away from her. Hui intervenes and says that he should first ask Young if she even considers him her boyfriend. After he leaves, Hui notices that Nanjia looks sick. On the way home, she wonders if he replied to her earlier, but she's not sure. At home, Hui tries to match the notes to the answers in her copy. Then she receives a message from her friends who were guessing that maybe Teacher Lee is the one who left the notes for Hui. The next day, after much hesitation, she goes to Teacher Lee to thank him, but he clearly denies doing anything. Later, sitting at the cafe, she finds out that Mr. Lee wasn't the one texting her either. He didn't even have her number. By accident, it slips that maybe Nanjia was the one. At the same time, Hui realizes that Nanjia has social anxiety disorder, and she realizes that's why he had gotten sick earlier. She texts Nanjia to meet her, and in the evening, she waits for him. He arrives asking why she took all the boxes from his table. He mentions that the boxes had fallen, and he had also seen the half pendant she had. That's when Hui finally understands who he is, and tears come to her eyes. Afterward, they talk about how much their lives have changed after being separated. After talking for a while, Hui says she will protest at school if anyone bothers her, and Nanjia laughs, saying she's always been like that since childhood. Hui proudly says that she's gotten stronger now. The next day at school, when her friends ask how her meeting with Nanjia went, Hui says it was just a misunderstanding. While returning, Ro again disappears, and her two friends wonder where she went. They see her with Nanjia at Mr. Lee's cafe and ask her when all this started. She replies that nothing is happening. They are just childhood friends. Then Chabi questions how she didn't recognize her childhood friend. Hui replies that Nanjia used to be much shorter in childhood, but now he's even taller than her. Later, when Ro is walking with them, she tells her friends that Hui has changed and has started hiding things, like not telling them that Nanjia is her childhood friend. The scene shifts to Hui going home, where her mother has arrived, and tells her that she spoke to Teacher Louis, and now Hui will study tuition under Nancy, which makes Hui very happy. In her room, she texts Nanjia saying how happy she is. He jokingly says that he's a very strict teacher, and Hui replies that she's not afraid of anyone. The next day, Hui, being the class representative, is asked to prepare a board, and her handwriting was very good, and Hui tells Chabi to inform Mr. Lee that she won't be coming to the cafe today because she has to study more, but Chabi doesn't pay attention, so Hui says again. However, at the cafe, Chabi is upset with Hui, so she spends more time with Nanjia. Chabi tries to understand her, but is not ready to listen to anything. The next day, while they are waiting to watch a movie, Hui goes home with Nanjia for tuition instead. When everyone finds out, Hui apologizes, saying she forgot about the plan because of all the new responsibilities this year. But Chabi, along with Shuru, searches for Nanjia's house and reaches there, saying Hui has changed. Shuru finds Chabi's words strange, but after saying that, they leave. Shuru follows him and tells Hui that meeting and dancing again has confused her and she doesn't know what to do. We see that Chabi's basketball match is happening, and when he loses the ball, he gets angry and says that Nanjia must apologize to Shuru. But during the dance lead, he doesn't listen and instead blames Shuru, saying it was her fault for interfering. This makes Chabi even angrier and demands an apology. Just then, Nelly enters and tells Chabi to apologize to Nanjia, but he rudely apologizes. Time skips to when Shuru and Chabi are returning. Meanwhile, they meet Nelly, who says all this doesn't matter and that he is a better basketball player. Chabi, annoyed by his arrogant tone, retorts that the coach doesn't think so. Seeing this attitude, Nanjia gets angry and challenges him to a basketball match, and Chabi agrees. Later, Hui goes to talk to Chabi and asks why he is angry. Shuru says maybe he's tense because he has a match with the lead the next day. Hui wasn't aware of this, but motivates Chabi, telling him that he will surely win and play very well. The next morning in class, Hui keeps motivating Chabi, and the entire class decides to go and cheer for him. On the court, people came to cheer from both sides. Hui tells Chabi that he must win the match. The match starts, but Chabi is not performing well, and it seems like he might lose. He remembers a flashback of how he was bullied for being fat in childhood, and how he used to lose in everything. Meanwhile, on the basketball court, Nanjia appears, shocking everyone because he usually never participates in any class events or even talks much. He analyzes the match and draws something. A flashback shows that what Nanjia drew was sent to Hui to give to Chabi. When Chabi asks if he would win this match, Nanjia says yes. Following the drawings plan, Chabi plays and surprisingly wins the match, making everyone very happy. After the match, the lead goes to Chabi and reminds him of his promise. When asked what promise, Chabi says he's not so dumb that he wouldn't remember that he must apologize to Shuru. Although reluctant, he is forced by the kids to apologize. After all this, Nanjia goes back to class and Hui follows him. Meanwhile, Chabi tells Nanjia that from now on, even if he loses, he should remember never to hit anyone with a ball again. Nan and Hui were still at the Crown when Chabi also arrived, addressing him as his big brother and asking if today they just wanted to have fun. But Hui said she didn't want to eat anything and left. After that, they both went to Hui's house, where Nanjia started admiring the items inside and asked if she would give him something. Nanjia asked what she would give in return. Meanwhile, Shuru is talking with Dan, saying how great he is and how he always has an answer for everything. The next day, everyone found out that Nanjia topped the science test. When Ruhi went to the staff room, the teacher told her she performed well and encouraged her to keep working hard. While leaving, she saw the teacher talking to another teacher, where it was mentioned that Nanjia was excellent in the field of science. Hui informed Nanjia that the teacher was calling him. In class, they saw that Chabi always sat near his seat and didn't talk to anyone except Dan. They suggested Nanjia should join the science stream, but he refused, saying he wanted to stay in arts. When asked by the teacher, he said it was because of CC class, so the teacher didn't force him. In class, when Chabi asked if he was going to science, Nanjia didn't answer. Hui said he would because he's the top student. While they were talking, many girls came to meet Nanjia, and Hui and Chabi somehow helped him escape from them. Later, Nanjia decided to stay in class 8, so he was studying more seriously. The next day, the scene shifted to Ro, who needed a book but couldn't find it in the library. The in-charge told her she would be informed when the book arrived. At that moment, someone came and heard the book's name, realizing that someone recently broke the record in science. But Nanjia didn't respond to anything, and his friend Yang said that the two of them created the most competition for everyone. Meanwhile, Chabi told Nanjia that if he needed help, he was ready. But Nanjia refused. When he found out that the reception in charge was his uncle, he asked for his help. Chabi distracted the uncle at the reception, and Nanjia went to search for some human records. But before he could find them, his uncle arrived and he had to leave. Chabi sat beside him, thinking about trying again later when the uncle was not around. Meanwhile, Hui left class with Shuru to find them and met Yang on the way. She asked her to call Nanjia, but Hui replied he wasn't in class. The bell rang, and Yang gave Hui a book to deliver to Nanjia. When Hui gave the book, a love letter fell out. Yang shouted so loudly that the teacher heard them and asked questions, but neither Hui nor Nanjia could answer, so they were sent out. Hui said she didn't do it, and Nanjia supported her, saying it wasn't Hui's handwriting. The teacher believed them and left. After that, Nanjia told Hui that he had warned her not to accept anything casually. Hui innocently said, how could she have known there was a love letter in the book? Later, they went to Mr. Ali's place, and while the three were talking, Shuru explained that they went there to retrieve a document. They successfully retrieved the invalid document that Nanjia needed. When they saw it, it turned out to be an acceptance letter. Shuru was shocked because she thought it was something else. They asked Hui to keep it a secret. Meanwhile, as Hui and Shuru were returning, they met Ma again, who started bothering Nanjia once more. Hui gets angry and tells him if he would ever stop bothering them and if he wanted to fight, he should fight with her. At first, Li Jian refuses, but then agrees. When Nanjia finds out about it later, he worries for Hui and rushes off to find her. He keeps running without listening to anyone. When he reaches Hui, the situation there looks completely different. Shu explains that there is a competition game going on, and the loser has to drink a full bottle of water. The lead had lost so badly that, after drinking the water, his condition worsened. Everyone says that Hui is not afraid of anyone, and seeing their fight, some more people join. But the situation worsens even more, and Shu explains everything. Then a backstory reveals that while drinking the water, Li Jian accidentally broke a bottle, so he was punished with push-ups. They also saw him speaking harshly to cafe owner Mr. Li. When excitedly intervening, he was asked why he wasn't at basketball practice. Since he couldn't answer, he too was punished with 100 push-ups. Hui's condition also worsens. Shu and Hui both decide to drop him home. They all head there together, but in the end, Shu has to carry him away. Before leaving, Li Jian whispers to Hui that Nanjia isn't changing his field. Afterward, we see that they try to send a message to Nanjia. A woman asks Nanjia about Hui, and he says that she is his friend. After they leave, it's revealed that the woman is a friend's mom. Ruhi says she has become a good friend of Young's, but Nanjia clearly says he has only one friend, and that's Ruhi. In class, the teacher announces that there will be a selection for the sports team, and everyone should sign up for their preferred games. Hearing this, all the kids get excited, and Chabi happily says that it's an honor. He stands in front of everyone and tells those who want to sign up for basketball to give their names. Later, when 26 returns to class, some girls try to give him gifts for attention, but he refuses all of them. However, when someone offers him snacks, he accepts. He brings all the gifts to Nanjia, who reminds him that he had told him not to accept such things. Chabi replies that he didn't want to break the girls' hearts, so he accepted. Later, during halftime, when Nanjia goes outside, he meets Young, who tells him that every year, 2 students from their school are sent for a math competition, and she invites him to join. Nanjia clearly refuses and takes out money, giving it to her, saying it was for the book she gave him earlier. Young feels embarrassed, and her friend quickly drags her away, telling her not to embarrass herself anymore. Hui sees all this and later scolds Nanjia, saying what he did was too harsh. If he didn't want the book, he could have simply returned it politely. On the other side, we see Young's friend, revealing that Nanjia has some mental health issues and that her mom is his patient, which some kids overhear. They also overheard it, and those people slowly spread the rumor throughout the school. On the basketball court, Billy Dance tries to trouble Nanjia by talking about it and bothers him a lot, but then Hui steps in, punches Dance well, and takes Nanjia aside. With tears in his eyes, Nanjia says that everything is fine. When he goes to the psychiatrist, she casually tells him that everyone faces problems in life and that he cannot carry the burden of everything. And she reminds him that Hui and 24 are very good friends and that he can share anything with them if he wants. Meanwhile, at school, kids were gossiping that Nanjia is crazy because he goes to a psychiatrist. But someone says if he were crazy, he wouldn't be so intelligent. At that moment, a classmate grabs his hand and drags him to class, telling everyone to sit properly. Hui tries to motivate Dance, but hears people mocking Nanjia again, calling him crazy because he visits a psychiatrist. Hui puts headphones on Nanjia's ears to distract him so he won't hear anything. She plays a recording of an English assignment, and he starts listening. They both get busy finding mistakes in it. When they return to class, they learn about the rumors. Hui also shares a few lines from a poem to comfort everyone, but still, the kids keep talking. Finally, Nanjia breaks down and shouts that he had this problem since childhood, but now he is fine, coming to school and wants to make friends. But not everything is possible for him. Later in class, they say they were just waiting for Nanjia to have something to eat. Time skips, and Hui goes to meet the teacher after learning that a friend from the ministry will visit the school. Hui asks if Nanjia's mother will come too, but the teacher says no. In the next scene, music is being scolded in the school office, while her mother, Ruhi, Chabi, and Shuru are talking. During the conversation, it is revealed that Hui supported Nanjia during such situations even in childhood, and that she must continue supporting him because only she can truly heal Nanjia. Later, the teacher tells all the kids in class to submit their participation forms for Bharat Day because it's the last day. Nanjia tells 26 to remind him to fill out the form himself, but Hui replies that even if he did, he still wouldn't be able to participate. Hearing this, Nanjia says he was just asking. He asks Hui what she is doing, and Chabi answers that she is participating in shot put because she was the champion last year. When someone else gets angry and says he won't say anything good, Hui doesn't argue further. Time shifts, and we see some boys taking Hui's class forms and putting Nanjia's participation form inside. Finally, the game day arrives. Hui is very nervous, but Chabi encourages her, saying they're here just to see her win. Like before, he helped her with calculations. He was helping all classmates too. Finally, it's Hui's turn. She is nervous but performs well. However, she starts experiencing pain in her waist and is taken to the nurse's room. When Nanjia hears about it, he rushes to her side to take care of her and even gives her an apple to eat. But then, a panicked Chabi arrives, saying that someone registered Nanjia's name for the 100-meter relay race, which is a problem because he didn't register himself. They all go to the coach to explain. They tried to explain but couldn't do anything about it. They also got frustrated. Nanjia said he would participate. Hui asks him if he is sure he wants to do it, and he confidently replies yes. Then he goes for the race. Finally, it's his turn to run. At first, he runs very slowly, but when he sees Hui cheering for him at the finish line, he runs very fast and finishes first. Everyone becomes very happy about it. The scene shifts where someone was talking about how they had placed Nanjia's form, but didn't expect him to actually win. Hui overhears this and tells Billy Dance to apologize, and he is forced to apologize to Nanjia. Finally, in class, the prize announcement happens, and everyone cheers for Nanjia. Nanjia smiles at everyone and thanks Hui, saying thank you for becoming his destiny. The scene shifts to the cafe where Mr. Lee, the class teacher, and a few others are sitting. Pearl is also working there, and it becomes clear that Mr. Lee likes the coach. Just then, the three friends arrive, happy with their victory, but when they see a bad comment about them written on the class test note, they get upset. They blame Hui for it, but the teacher lets them off, saying he would let it go today because of the help they gave earlier. After a while, the rest of the classmates join them. They all talk and clear up misunderstandings, and now everyone has become friends. Jiang confesses that he doesn't mind if Nanjia comes between him and Young, and that he has no problem now. Time shifts to when Nanjia gives Hui his medal, thanking her once again. Later at night, Hui goes home and shows her grandpa the medal, telling him that her class got first place. Her grandpa asks if the medal belongs to Chabi, but she denies it. Seeing her so happy, he jokingly asks if that boy is her boyfriend. Embarrassed, Hui denies it and leaves. Hui then sends Nanjia a picture of the medal and thanks him, saying he gave it to her. Nanjia also thanks her for becoming his destiny. Then, looking up at the sky, he says to himself, "Little well, can't you become my destiny forever?" Meanwhile, back in class, teachers are praising the students for doing a great job, but remind them that they expect similar performance and good marks in the upcoming semester exams. All the students agree, and the teacher leaves the classroom. The scene changes, and we see Chabi and Shuru studying at Mr. Lee's cafe. But Chabi is distracted, focusing only on Hui and Nanjia studying together. He says that they are definitely dating and insists they should go and check. Shuru refuses and tries to stop him. As Chabi gets close to Shuru, she starts to blush, and her face turns red. Seeing this, Chabi checks on her and teases her again, causing her to blush even more. Then suddenly, Chabi leaves and returns with ice cream, but as he is about to give it to her, Mitali scolds them, saying that outside food is not allowed in the cafe. As Chabi tries to explain, Mitali smashes the ice cream onto Chabi's head. In the following scenes, we see Chabi, Shuru, Hui, and Nanjia working very hard for their exams, studying together with great effort. Finally, the last day of exams arrives, and everyone is very happy after submitting their final papers. When Hui is asked how many questions she left unanswered, she replies that she didn't leave a single one. She studied very well. Everyone was happy that their holidays were about to start, but it seemed their class teacher didn't agree because he gave them a lot of homework. The next day, we see Nanjia waiting outside Mr. Lee's cafe for Hui, but she didn't come. Meanwhile, Chabi and Shuru were hiding nearby, with Chabi acting like a detective, trying to figure out whether Hui and Nanjia were dating. On the other hand, we see Hui at home with her mom, requesting a coffee machine. Her mom agrees on the condition that Hui brings 430 marks in exams. Hui requests to negotiate, so her mom tells her to help her brother, who had scored 400 marks, and if she does, then she will agree. Hui immediately agrees, and shortly after, Nanjia arrives at her house because she hadn't come to the cafe. Chabi and Shuru were spying and again assumed that Hui and Nanjia were dating because they saw Hui hugging Nanjia, but the reality was that Hui's brother had pushed her. Soon after, Hui's brother started bothering them a lot, so they decided to continue with their original plan and went trekking. They were taking pictures together, and everyone was wondering why they chose such a place for dating. On the way, Dance was collecting something and walked ahead, calling out to them. They arrived at a very beautiful location, and seeing it, Ruhi told her brother that he could take inspiration from this place for his painting. Later, they both fell asleep, resting their heads on each other's shoulders, while Hui's brother started painting the scenery. The scene then shifts to Chabi and Shuru, who were lost without water. It shifts back to Hui as she gets a call from Ishu, who tells her about their condition and calls them towards a temple location. Hui and Nanjia somehow make it close to them. Rohit Shu gently asks but ends up pulling Chabi's ear. Later at night, Hui carries her brother on her shoulders because he fell asleep, and she tells Nanjia that they need to clear the dating rumors that Chabi had spread. At home, Hui realizes her brother was pretending to be asleep, and he tries to blackmail her using the painting he made. The next morning, 24 is shown practicing basketball when Shuru comes to give him his homework, complaining that doing his homework gave her dark circles. They get very close while talking, and Shu once again ends up blushing. She says that they will always be together because he is the best, and pushes Chabi to straighten him up. In class, the teacher asks everyone to quickly choose their universities and fill out their applications. After the teacher leaves, everyone talks about which university they would go to. But when they ask Hui, she walks away without answering, leaving everyone shocked about why she acted like that. Ruhi then goes to Mr. Lee's cafe where only Louis-san is present. When a customer arrives, he tells them Mr. Lee isn't there, so coffee cannot be prepared at the moment. Rock makes coffee himself and serves it to them. Lavi Dance was very impressed, but he tries only to share Hui's mood by looking at her and then takes her to play games. They play games together until the evening, and Hui's mood improves considerably. When Nanjia sees all this, he feels that he cannot do anything for Hui, but then an idea comes to him. The next day, teachers tell all the students to work hard and quickly fill out their university forms. Later, Nanjia gives Hui his notes, and she rudely replies that the semester has just begun and asks why he is giving her notes. Who is he that orders her to do all this? It doesn't make any sense to him why she is behaving this way, so he asks her about marriage, but she ignores him. As a result, he writes a note stating what he is for Hui. The teacher sees all this and, getting angry, tries to make them understand. Then he sits down, saying that he will remove Nanjia from his life, and he falls down. In the next scene, the teacher sends both of them out. At a karaoke session, he tells them that if they come out next time, they should not do so, and then he tells Nanjia that Hui is just the way she is. No one can order her around. She even calls her mom while returning to class, and she scolds him by saying that he should eat his grandmother's fritters. Time skips. Finally, Hui explains that she was doing this because of Nanjia, he would end up going to a low-ranking college and ruin his career. The next day, Hui brings him to Yannick Men's because Nanjia had decided to take a gap year to live with Hui, and then he leaves after informing his mom and teacher. After that, he goes to Hui, who is filling water from the village. But when Nanjia suddenly calls her, she accidentally pours the water on him and blows it over his hands. At that moment, Nanjia arrives and starts blaming him. His mom also hears and tells him that none of it is his fault. Later, Hui's mom goes to talk to the teacher, stating clearly that she is not deciding on any college for him. Hui then leaves and goes directly to Mr. Lee's cafe, where she receives a message stating that she has not yet decided on her career. After a short while, 24 and Nanjia also arrive, and all of them gather to help Hui discover her talent. Finally, they decide that she will go into blue casting because she speaks very well, and everyone becomes very happy. Mr. Lee also sends a message on that number, informing them that he has learned about Hui's situation today. Everyone laughs and jokingly leaves for their homes. We see that Nanjia's mom watches him, thinking that she has seen her son laughing like that for the first time, and then she recalls a flashback showing that after Dance left, his mom went off to tell a story. We see that someone standing outside the house is met by her brother, who tells her that he and his friend have spoken with their mom and that she is in a good mood. As long as she doesn't say anything at school, everything is fine and she can even talk. But on the contrary, she goes inside and tells her mom, "Mom, I don't want to go abroad. I want to build my career in broadcasting." And she adds that she has secured admission in Munji University for the coming 1 year. She promises that she will work very hard. Her mom, after hearing her words, agrees happily, while her brother and uncle secretly watch them. The scene changes, and we see Nanjia and Ruhi shopping together. Whatever Ruhi shows Nanjia, he calls it cute, and finally says that whatever she does or buys, it will always look cute to him. After that, he also buys a pink diary for her and says it's good for writing notes. Then he tells her he will buy one just like hers. Ruhi tells him that people will think it's weird, but Nanjia replies that nothing like that will happen. The next day, Ruhi sneaks into class and asks Shuru if attendance has been done, and Shuru says yes. Ruhi says she is very late today, and the teacher said she would have to write "sorry" 1,000 times for being late. Hui makes a big face and says she was dreaming and doing something good, but now she has to suffer punishment. Meanwhile, Chabi arrives and says that their annual function won't happen this year unless they raise their voice. He climbs up on the table and says they deserve their rights. The teacher then enters and throws him out of the class. Hui, seeing all this from outside, is affected for some reason and goes inside, erasing what the teacher had written on the board with an eraser. In the next scene, we see the kids studying very hard, even staying late at night. One evening, in class, they hear someone proposing loudly, and everyone rushes outside to see. Later, the teacher drags them all back inside, and the same thing happens again the next morning. The teacher says that if anyone knows who it was, they must tell. Meanwhile, Chabi had his own plan. After the teacher leaves class, he announces that they will celebrate the annual function no matter what. Just then, the teacher comes back and throws him out again. But once again, Hui and Chabi erase the teacher's writing on the board when he leaves. Later, Chabi tells Hui that she should come with him tomorrow because he needs her help. He plans to separate her from everyone else so he can spend time with her. Meanwhile, Nanjia is wandering around alone, wondering what everyone means when they talk about eating together. Saturday night comes, and all the students show the crackers they brought hidden in their bags. Nancy says she is ready to support them. Finally, night falls, and all the kids sneak to the terrace from the garden. Chabi holds Hui's hand and leads her to another side. To distract everyone, Chabi starts lighting crackers, making all the kids scream because the lights would reveal their presence. Despite their protests, Chabi lights them anyway. Meanwhile, Nanjia had prepared a cute surprise for Hui, which makes her very happy and smile warmly. However, the sound of Chabi's crackers alerts the garden security, who comes searching for them. Shu becomes very scared, but Hui calms her down. Still, when the guard gets close, Hui tries to protect her friends by stepping forward to distract him. Becoming emotional, Hui tells Nanjia that if they ever get separated again, how would she live? But he assures her that nothing like that will happen. The next scene shifts to the next morning, where Chabi is being scolded by his class teacher for everything he had done. After refusing at first, he still did the same things, and now he will receive heavy punishment. They tell him that since he is good in academics, he will easily get admission, but he will need the principal's signature. If he continues acting like this, he will not have time left for anything else. Chabi leaves with a sad face, thinking the punishment would be small, but the class teacher asks him to write an apology letter 1,000 times. When Chabi requests, saying he's just a kid and how will he manage all this, the chemistry teacher jokes that he doesn't even study properly, so he should write it 2,000 times instead. Hearing this, Chabi says that 1,000 would have been fine. While going out, Chabi overhears the teachers talking and learns that this time there will be no New Year performance because their art exams are coming up and the admission exams for their class are approaching. Hearing this, Chabi informs all the classmates, and everyone is shocked. However, some students were already focusing on their art exams, but Ruhi carefully listens and can't believe it. Afterward, when everyone meets secretly, they decide that they will perform without informing anyone. They will practice secretly and surprise everyone with their performance, making their teachers happy. Nanjia also agrees to support them. Then, we see Dance at his home, making a flying instrument and modifying it to improve it. The next morning, when he shows all the things to his friends, everyone becomes very happy. But Chabi is missing. He soon comes running and informs them that he has also gotten permission from the principal for their performance. Everyone becomes even more excited. After that, they discuss their extra tasks and difficulties but still decide to work very hard. It was a good thing because they were serious about their studies too. They continued practicing without neglecting their studies, and Hui also attended her broadcasting coaching classes. Days pass, and then New Year arrives. Everyone was very happy, and the teachers wished all the students and told them to enjoy. After the teachers left, Hui suddenly remembered that she had left her instrument at home. She said she would quickly go and bring it back because her house was nearby. As time passed, from afternoon to evening and from evening to night, Hui did not return. Everyone becomes very worried because Hui is not even answering her phone. Finally, Nanjia says he is going to find Hui. Nanjia keeps calling her, and finally, Hui answers the phone. Hearing her weak voice, Nanjia becomes even more worried. In the next scene, he is at Hui's house. He knocks on her room door and finds her very sick, but Hui still insists that she must go for the performance. The scene skips, and we see Nanjia bringing her soup and giving her medicine before putting her to sleep. Then Hui's brother calls to wish her a happy birthday. Seeing Hui's condition, he starts questioning Nanjia like a detective about what he is doing with Hui's phone. Nanjia shows him Hui's condition, saying she is sick, and her brother asks him to take good care of her before hanging up. Meanwhile, Shuru and Chabi give their performance alone, but the audience loves it very much. Later, when Shuru and Chabi go to collect things, Shuru tells Chabi that Hui is sick and Nanjia is taking care of her. During this, a group of troublemaker boys approaches Shuru and Chabi to bother them. Shuru tricks them and escapes, but they catch up again. This time, their class teacher overhears everything and rescues them. The scene shifts to the next morning where Hui is feeling better. Nanjia comes into her room with a wooden box and wishes her a happy birthday. Then, Hui's grandma calls them for breakfast. Hui's grandparents warmly welcome Nanjia and thank him for taking care of Hui while they were away. Hearing this, everyone is shocked that Hui's parents are always so busy that they leave poor Nanjia alone. Meanwhile, Shuru and Chabi talk about how their class teacher saved them, but also mention that they managed to call the police, though they are unsure if they arrived in time. The scene shifts back to Hui and Nanjia. Hui's grandparents talk to them and share stories. Nanjia happily helps around and says he likes doing household chores, but Hui's grandpa pulls grandma away, saying there's no need for him to lie. He doesn't actually like it. Nanjia insists that he does, but he gets caught quickly because he wasn't even washing the dishes properly. Hui teaches him how to wash dishes, and the two of them play around while doing chores, which the grandparents watch fondly. Hui's grandpa jokes that nowadays kids even enjoy washing dishes. While Hui and Nanjia are together, Hui's grandma calls them, saying they found something. They go to her and see an open album filled with Hui's childhood pictures. Grandma shows the pictures to Nanjia and asks if Hui wasn't very cute back then. Nanjia smiles while looking at the pictures and says yes, she was very cute. But Hui, embarrassed, covers the photos with her hand, saying not to show them because she looked weird and ugly back then. Grandma scolds her gently, telling her how beautiful and precious those memories are, and reminds her how Hui's mom left her when she was just 5 years old. The scene changes and we see Nanjia sleeping at Hui's house. Afterward, Hui comes in and tells him to forget about those pictures. When he refuses, she tries to cast magic over him to make him forget everything. Nanjia, becoming serious, asks her if she really wants him to forget everything. Hui says yes because her past was not good, and she herself doesn't want to remember it. The next day at school, Shuru and Chabi discuss how Chabi had forgotten Hui's birthday and how Hui might scold him for it. But when Hui arrives, the scene is different. Hui had already found out that Chabi and Shuru had been injured while trying to help her, and it was Mr. Lee who had saved them from the gangsters. However, they still didn't know what had happened afterward. The whole school came to know that Mr. Lee had fought with the goons for his students. Later, when Mr. Lee comes to school, he has injuries, meaning the goons had beaten him. But Mr. Lee tells the kids he just fell and got hurt and that he doesn't have a fever. Even in class, he says the same thing. All the students stand up and thank him for going beyond his limits to protect them. Tears come to Mr. Lee's eyes upon hearing this, but he quickly tells everyone to sit and study because exams were coming. Later, Hui and the others, while going to a canteen, see a poster of a design competition organized by a famous flying design college. Hui wants Nanjia to participate, but Shuru reminds her that Nanjia cannot be forced into anything because it might have a bad effect on him. Hearing this, Hui agrees and decides to only inform him without pressuring him. Time skips. In class, Nanjia is given a punishment to write a word 100 times because Hui had made a mistake in copying the homework he gave her. Even though Hui apologizes, Nanjia keeps giving her more work to do. Later, while walking, Hui and Nanjia see a professor from the Wooden Design College. They hear about the competition happening there. Hui, feeling excited, talks about how great Nanjia is at this. Mr. Lee, who is accompanying them, encourages Nanjia to go and meet the professor. Following that, the professor recognizes Nanjia as the boy he had heard about. The scene changes to later in the day when school ends. Hui again sees the professor and goes to show him Nanjia's work, the wooden bag that Nanjia had made. Seeing it, the professor is impressed, and both Nanjia and Hui become very happy. Then Mr. Lee tells Hui to inform Nanjia about the news, and she runs to his house to tell him, but Nanjia doesn't show much reaction. Instead, he tells Hui to memorize some words. Later in the science lab, Hui is seen memorizing those words, and then gives her exam. Time skips to where Ishu and Naz are looking at pictures of universities, and Lumen also joins them. They all talk about how prestigious the university is, and Lumen says he wanted to take admission there because Young studies there. Just then, a boy passes by and many girls run around him. Shuru and Chabi notice him too, watch him for a while, and then turn their gaze away as the boy leaves. After chatting for a while, Hui hears Chabi's voice and runs towards it, thinking he is there. But then they realize that he was only talking to them through a video call because he was out for his basketball exam. Time skips to the next day, where everyone is preparing for their exams. Hui gives Nanjia a tiffin box along with her well locket and tells him he must not lose it. It must stay with him. After Nanjia leaves, Lumen scolds Hui because she was getting late for her own exam. She rushes and manages to reach just in time for her broadcasting department admission audition. Hui performs her poem very well during the audition, but midway, the judges ask her to stop. Nervous, Hui comes out and washes her face, saying she doesn't want Nanjia to see her like this. Meanwhile, everyone finishes their exams, and they sit together in the university garden where they meet a Gujarati girl who smiles at them. Lumen thinks that maybe she smiled at him. The next day at school, Hui goes to study, and everyone is shocked to see her so focused because Hui had never behaved this way before. While everyone looks at the notice board for the audition results, they find Nanjia's name in the poetry section, but don't find Hui's name, meaning she was not selected. Even after double checking, her name wasn't there. Nanjia becomes very worried. The scene shifts to the cafe where everyone is talking. Hui says they shouldn't worry because there will be a second chance, and she will work very hard and surely get admission in the second round. Nancy supports her, promising to help, and everyone else agrees too. Chabi says he will help take care of her physical health, Shu will take care of her mental health, and they will all support her studies. They all decide that they will make sure Hui passes and joins the major university with them. Time skips, showing Hui working extremely hard, and alongside her, everyone is doing their best to support her and take care of her. Meanwhile, Mr. Lee is seen teaching in class where he says, Mr. Lee says that he hopes Hui's hard work will pay off and that she must have done really well, especially in her marks. Then, all the students go for trekking. They climb to the top of a hill with great difficulty, where Mr. Lee tells them that if they work hard, they will achieve beautiful results, just like how they climbed this mountain and are now seeing the beautiful scenery. He tells them that they shouldn't fear failure. If they fail, they should chase their goals again, and eventually they will succeed. Hearing all this, The students get very emotional. Nanjia asks Hui if she is crying, and she, while tearing up, says that she isn't crying. She just can't control it. Soon the sun begins to set, and all the students enjoy the sunset together. We see that after all their hard work, everyone gives their exams properly, and eventually the exams are over. They are all happy, but also a little nervous because their results were still pending. They wait anxiously, and finally the day of the result comes. They are told that the results will be available online. Sitting together, they first check Nanjia's results and find out that he scored very well. They congratulate and praise him. Then they check Shuru and Chabi's results. Their results were good too. Although not as excellent as Nanjia's, their marks were good enough to get them into their desired university departments. Finally, they move to check Hui's result. They are nervous, but everyone encourages her, saying everything will be fine. As they open her result and note down the marks, they find out that Hui missed the mark by just 1 point and now cannot be admitted to the major university. Everyone, especially Nanjia, becomes very upset, and he runs off. Hui calmly tells everyone not to be upset. She says she knows they had decided to go to university together, but sometimes things don't go as planned. She says she is not upset about missing her dream university, but is more worried that now her mom might send her abroad, which is a bigger problem for her. Nanjia, calming down, says he will ask his mom for some time and that they will surely find a way. After a lot of convincing, Hui's mom agrees to give them 3 days. Both Hui and Nanjia are extremely happy. Finally, after 3 days, both of them go to meet Hui's mom, dressing up nicely for the occasion. Hui's brother, seeing them, jokes and asks if Nanjia is planning to elope with Hui to get married. He gets scolded for this joke, and then Hui and Nanjia go to meet her mom. They think that Nanjia has come with a marriage proposal for Hui, and before the conversation can even start, her mother tries to stop them. But somehow, Nanjia manages to explain that he has come with a plan for Hui's academic future. Hearing this, they calm down a little, and he explains that Hui should take admission in the business department because she scored very well, and she will have many new opportunities. At first, Hui's mother isn't very impressed and says that he can stay with her until reservations, but not for life. However, Nanjia firmly says that he will stay by Hui's side always without hesitation. Finally, Hui's mother also agrees. Time skips. Everyone is sitting in the cafeteria, and they find out that Mr. Lee has decided to close the cafe because he has found someone he had been looking for. He had even left an expensive gift for Hui there. Everyone feels emotional because they had so many good memories attached to that cafeteria. After that, they all decide to do the final cleaning of the cafe together because after today, it will be closed, and they might never meet there again. In the notes area, Chabi finds many notes written by Shuru about him, filled with good things, and he thinks how Shuru could never say these things to him face to face. The scene changes. Hui wakes up to her alarm and gets ready quickly. Her grandma comes to wake her but sees she is already ready. Hui runs downstairs and her grandpa feels happy seeing her all grown up. Her grandma says that Hui is now mature enough to wake up on her own. While Hui is eating breakfast quickly, her grandpa tells her to slow down. Then he tells her that Nanjia will come to pick her up because today is Monday. On the other hand, Nanjia also gets ready. His mother looks worried because it's the first time Nanjia is leaving home. She gives him an uncle's phone number and tells him to call if he needs anything. Nanjia assures her that he will be fine, and says she can even video call him if she worries too much. Then he leaves. Meanwhile, Hui is with her grandparents when Nanjia arrives, and he takes her away. At the university, Hui tells Nanjia to relax and enjoy life a little. Soon after, Shuru arrives, who didn't know about Chabi's situation. They all head to do their registrations first. Since Nanjia wasn't comfortable in crowds, Hui went alone to register herself. When they were returning, they saw some people clicking pictures of Nanjia and Shuru. Even though they told them not to, the people kept clicking and even argued. At that moment, a senior from the stairs arrives, the same senior who had seen Shuru before, and he drives those people away. Then he tells them he is from their department and that he is a fourth-year senior. He advises them to enjoy their university life and leaves. Hui then decides to visit Nanjia's hostel, but when she actually goes to see it, her mood turns sour because the hostel was extremely dirty and the room was very The hostel was very strange and messy, and it was bothering Hui a lot. Nanjia told her that he would manage, but Hui didn't agree and decided to call her uncle about it. She said they should call and find another room. Nanjia tells her that in a little while Uncle will come with cards and show them many apartments. They see several places, but none satisfy them. Some are dirty, some are too small, and Hui is worried that they might get troubled living there. Finally, they go to see one last apartment, and both of them really like it. They decide to finalize it. Time skips. Both of them fall asleep peacefully after everything is settled. Hui wakes up and checks on Nanjia. On the other side, Chabi had organized a dinner at a restaurant near their university. Time skips to everyone sitting together having dinner. Chabi says that even though he didn't do much during school here in university, he will live his life fully and achieve great marks. Everyone agrees with him. The next day, Hui and Nanjia are talking on a call when they are called to their classes, so they hang up and go. In class, everyone sits quietly. The professor comes in and announces that he will be their professor for the next 4 years. Then he mentions that there's another boy who just joined the class. At that moment, a boy enters and introduces himself as Gao Ping. His behavior was noticeably similar to Nanjia, very calm and quiet. All the students start talking about both of them. Nanjia goes to Gao Ping, extends his hand, and introduces himself. Gao Ping also sits down quietly. The professor explains their upcoming assignment and says that no one should worry because they will work in groups. Class ends, and outside 2 boys approach Gao Ping, suggesting that they do the assignment together, but Gao Ping refuses and says he will do it alone. Then the boys approach Nanjia too, introducing themselves, and asking if he will join their group. Nanjia doesn't respond to them, and instead walks over to Hui, who was waiting nearby. As he talks to Hui, Gao Ping also arrives and says that he topped the exam and was only 0.75 points behind Nanjia, but next time he would surpass him. Hui gets confused hearing this but doesn't react much. The next scenes show all 4 friends progressing in their lives. Everyone busy with their studies, Chabi with basketball, and Hui and Nanjia decorating their new home. The scene changes again. Hui and Nanjia are painting their home together when someone knocks on the door. Hui opens it, and it's Shuru and Chabi. Chabi immediately starts praising how nice their house looks. Meanwhile, Hui sends Chabi to help Nanjia with painting the house. Hui takes Shuru with her to talk for a bit. Meanwhile, Hui receives a parcel containing some artifacts sent by Nanjia, which he decorates in the living room. However, when Nanjia comes home, he starts removing them, saying they are not complete yet. Hui tries hard to stop him, but when he doesn't listen, she says, "Fine, you're right," and starts helping him remove the items, though she is clearly upset. Nanjia realizes she's angry and tries to cheer her up, and after a little while, she forgives him. After that, they sit together, and Hui says she's extremely hungry. They decide that Hui will cook something. Hui then gives Chabi a list of ingredients to bring, but he forgets everything. After some arguing, the scene changes. We then see that the 4 of them still haven't cooked anything. Instead, they are all eating pizza and snacks. Seeing this, Shuru makes a big sulky face. Meanwhile, Shuru is in the kitchen feeling a bit dehydrated and plans to make lemonade, but Chabi gives her an energy drink instead and asks her to help him set up photo frames. After a little while, he asks her if the angle looks right, but he loses his balance and falls down, dragging Shuru with him. After staring at each other for a moment, they try to get up, but then they both notice something. Hui's name is written on the side of Nanjia's bed. Shuru is about to scream, but Chabi quickly covers her mouth, asking her to stay quiet. On the other side, Hui receives another parcel from Nanjia. This time it's a camera. She looks slightly annoyed and decides to leave the house. Nanjia asks where she's going and tries to stop her, but she doesn't listen. Shuru also follows her out. Meanwhile, Ravi sees them and wonders what is happening. The scene shifts to Hui and Shuru, where Hui expresses her frustration, saying she's trying so hard to help Nanjia overcome his fear of living alone and meeting new people, but it seems to make no difference. She says Nanjia has ordered another camera to monitor himself at home. Hearing this, Shuru tries to call and inform Nanjia, but he refuses the call, already aware because he had seen the parcel himself. The next day, Shuru, Chabi, and Hui wait for Nanjia after class, but when Nanjia arrives, everyone becomes quiet because there is still tension between Hui and Nanjia. While the four are having lunch at the cafeteria, a boy comes and sits beside them, trying to befriend Shuru. When Shuru tries to avoid him, he behaves rudely. Chabi then forcibly makes him leave. Both the girls and Chabi tell him that if they have any problem, they should tell her. Time skips. Finally, Nanjia is sitting alone and trying to ignore the camera issue with Hui. But just then, Ailengen says he wants to do the assignment with his group. Hearing this, Hui becomes extremely happy, because finally Nanjia was opening up to others. She happily says that it's really great news and takes him to his teammates to work together. Everyone is happy about it. Just then, Gao Ping also arrives but refuses to work with Nanjia's group and leaves. Hui gets upset, but Nanjia calmly says that he didn't push Gao Ping away, he left on his own. Later, the three of them work together, and someone comments that their project will be the best. In the next scene, the assignment presentations happen in class. The professor loves the project by Nanjia's team and they win the first prize. The three of them are extremely happy. However, Gao Ping didn't like this because once again he came second after Nanjia, but there was nothing he could do. Outside the class, the team happily meets Hui and tells her everything excitedly, calling her their sister-in-law. Hui initially denies it, but eventually smiles. They all decide to celebrate and plan to have a meal together, deciding to eat in the dormitory instead of going out. While on the way with lots of food, Hui meets Gao Ping and invites him too, but he refuses. Back in the dormitory, everyone was preparing the food, but then they go outside to sit and eat together. At that moment, a security guard approaches and everyone quickly wears paper bags over their faces and runs away. The next day, the news spreads on everyone's phones, but no one knows who the people under the paper bags were. Hui remembers that Gao Ping had once said he saw something similar and becomes a bit suspicious, but quickly forgets about it because she finds out that the housewarming at Nanjia's place is happening. Time skips. Hui, Shuru, and others prepare dinner at Nanjia's house. After dinner, Chabi takes Shuru away and Nanjia blindfolds Hui and takes her to his room to show her a painting that had "Our Home" written on it. Hui gets a little confused, but Nanjia finally proposes to her. He tells her he was very scared after she talked about going abroad and realized how much he loves her. Hui also finally confesses that she likes him. They spend some cute, sweet moments together when Hui gets a call from her mother, asking her to take care of her brother for 2 days. Hui blackmails her mother into agreeing to pay her and promises to buy her a coffee machine too. Hui starts looking for a hotel to stay with her brother because she couldn't keep him in the hostel, but Nanjia convinces her that they both can stay at his place instead. Finally, her brother arrives and immediately starts bothering Hui, blackmailing her by threatening to tell their mom about her affair with Nanjia. During dinner, he even asks Nanjia why he likes his sister when there are so many other girls, even prettier ones. Hui quickly covers his mouth and tells him to just eat quietly. Hui's brother was asking how 2 people could sleep on one bed, and he said his sister would sleep there. Hui suggested that she and Nanjia would sleep on the floor, and her brother would sleep on the bed. In the end, all 3 of them ended up sleeping on the same bed after a long fight about it. But Hui's brother was sleeping so badly that he kept hitting Nanjia's face or Hui's face in his sleep. Finally, Nanjia, very frustrated, said that he was going to move Hui's brother to the couch. Hui agreed. When Nanjia took him downstairs, he didn't come back for a while. When Hui went downstairs to check, she found that Nanjia had also fallen asleep next to her brother. Hui smiled and left without disturbing them. The next morning, Hui planned to make coffee, but when she looked downstairs, she saw that both of them were still sleeping. She decided not to disturb them. While making coffee, her brother woke up and asked her to make some food for him too. Hui told him to do it himself, but he threatened to tell their mom about Hui and Nanjia's relationship. The scene shifts to Shuru and Chabi, who meet a senior who is also Shuru's professor. The senior tells them they look good together, and if they aren't already together, they should be. Hearing this, Shuru gets shy and quickly leaves for her drama practice. Chabi was confused by her behavior. Meanwhile, Nanjia and Hui were trying to decide what to do with Hui's brother. After a while, they decided to leave him at the college near Shuru. At college, Shuru noticed that Chabi had come to watch her practice many times. Through gestures, she tried to hint that she liked him, But Chabi didn't understand anything and left. Shuru got frustrated and Chabi followed her, still confused. Meanwhile, Hui's brother managed to sneak away from Ravi and went into Nanjia's class, asking him to come outside. When Nanjia refused, Hui's brother threatened him, saying that if he didn't agree, he would tell Hui's mom about their relationship, causing big problems for Nanjia at home. Even though it was childish, Nanjia decided not to take any risks, so he takes Hui's brother outside and treats him to coffee at a coffee shop. After drinking, Hui's brother says that this type of coffee would never be to his sister's liking. Hearing this, Nanjia becomes more attentive and starts observing closely. Meanwhile, Hui meets Shuru, and when Shuru tells her about Chabi's reaction, Hui also becomes angry and says she will handle it herself, but Shuru stops her. On the other side, Nanjia is taking Hui's brother around to different coffee shops, making him taste various coffees and noting everything down in a notebook. After a while, Hui's brother complains that one day is enough for drinking so much coffee. Then, when Nanjia says it's time for homework, Hui's brother quickly agrees to go to even more coffee shops to avoid it. Meanwhile, Hui gets a call saying her mom has returned and is sending a car to pick up her brother. Hui tries to convince her mom to delay it, but her mom refuses. Hui gets worried because she can't reach Nanjia or her brother by phone. After searching everywhere, they meet a girl who tells them she met the two and that Hui's brother even took her number and sent her a photo. Using the photo clue, they track them down to a temple where an employee informs them that the two had just left. Finally, they find Chabi and Hui's brother when Diksha and Ru call out to them, but the two boys run away. Chabi is asked to chase them and also pick up the mom's call to confirm the car is coming. A little later, after catching them, everyone waits for the car. Hui's brother finally leaves, but not before whispering something mischievous to Nanjia, warning him. After he leaves, they all sit together to have dinner. Chabi is very excited, but Shuru declines to stay longer and leave. Chabi follows after her. The scene shifts. Ru asks Nanjia what the two of them were up to, and says if he doesn't tell, she won't speak to him anymore. In response, Nanjia smiles and hands her a notebook titled Coffee Map. The scene changes again. Their second semester final exams are approaching, and everyone is working very hard. The exams happen, but one of Hui's exams doesn't go well. Nanjia consoles her, telling her everything will be all right. The scene shifts to Hui arriving late to her English class with a friend. Her teacher scolds her, but eventually allows her to come inside. A little later, Nanjia also comes in and sits beside her, shocking Hui. Hui tells him he shouldn't be here because her professor is very strict and scary. However, the professor notices them, asks Hui to read aloud, and when Hui struggles, she is scolded and told to leave the class and never return. The professor says she didn't prepare for class, and even when Hui tries to argue, it's useless, so she leaves. Nanjia also leaves behind her. The professor becomes even angrier upon realizing that Nanjia wasn't even her student and treats the class like a park. However, Nanjia doesn't seem much affected. Before leaving, Nanjia asks for Hui's attendance record, and after checking, he leaves from there. In the next scene, he tells Hui about it, and she becomes upset because it meant she might fail. The scene shifts to where we see the senior meeting 24 in the cafeteria, and they have lunch together. During casual conversation, the seniors start asking about Shuru, and while chatting, 24 accidentally tells them where Shuru is and what she likes and dislikes, which makes them happy. He tells them that Shuru has gone on a trip with her drama club and will return in 2 or 3 days. After that, Hui and Lal Rhoda are shown bringing food for a friend, but when he sees it, he makes a weird face and complains that it's all very unhealthy because it's oily and spicy. Hui scolds him a bit, so he finally eats quietly. Time skips. Nanjia and Hui discuss that he has to choose an extra subject like an activity. Hui enrolls him in a dance class. There, he meets the chubby boy who had been his project partner at the start of the semester, and is also Hui's good friend. The class starts, and everyone is asked to choose partners. All the boys want female partners. Here, Nanjia's partner ends up being another boy, and he feels a bit uncomfortable dancing with him. His partner suggests that instead of touching, he can just hold on to his clothes, and Nanjia agrees. Meanwhile, as usual, the two start bickering while dancing. At the same time, Chabi notices that everyone is looking at Hui strangely. He finds it odd, but Ru tells him he's overthinking. However, when he checks his phone, he realizes why. A picture of Hui dancing with Nanja and his partner has gone viral. Chabi quickly tries to hide it, but Hui already sees and demands his phone. Reluctantly, he hands it over. She sees the picture but doesn't react much outwardly because she had been the one to enroll Nanja in the dance class, though deep inside she does feel a little uncomfortable but doesn't show it. Afterward, the first thing she does when they leave is ask Nanja about his class, how it was, and when the next one will be. Nanja replies that the class was good and the next one is on Tuesday. The scene shifts. Shuru returns from her drama club tour, and as she gets off the bus, she meets the senior. He offers to give her a ride home, and after some hesitation, she agrees. On reaching home, he offers her spicy food and ice cream. Shuru politely says that everyone at school knows she doesn't like those things and tells him not to do all this for her. Finally, the senior confesses that he likes her. He also says he knows she likes Chabi and asks her to treat him just as a friend. Shuru accepts this and apologizes to him. She tells him not to tell Chabi because she doesn't want to upset him, and after knowing their friendship might not remain the same. The senior advises her that she should at least try. Meanwhile, we see Hui and Nanjia sitting together working, but Hui seems a little upset. She says that earlier when they were in high school they were very happy together and used to do everything, including homework, together. Now their subjects are different, and even if they want to, they can't do homework together. At that moment, Nanjia gives her a notebook saying it has English rules written inside and it would help her a lot. Hui acts a bit moody at first, but then accepts it. In the next scene, Hui is sitting somewhere thinking whether she should check on Nanjia's dance class or not. She debates with herself a lot, but finally decides not to go there. Instead, she chooses to follow the coffee map notebook Nanjia gave her, and starts visiting different cafes to taste the coffee. Finally, when she reaches the last cafe, she feels something different, a familiar taste. She happily drinks several sips, and then Mr. Lee appears before her, making her very happy, but also a little annoyed for not telling her earlier. Mr. Lee laughs and says he knew she would find her way here. He points to the coffee map notebook and says that Nanjia had come to meet him here too. Hui complains why they made her follow the map, but Mr. Lee says he was sure she would find her way. Then he shows her that Louis Bin was also working part-time at the cafe, making Hui even happier. The scene shifts to Chabi, who is waiting for Shuru's arrival. When she comes, he tries several times to talk to her, but she gives only short replies and leaves. Chabi realizes from her expression that he still doesn't understand anything, and Shuru walks away disappointed. The next scene shows Louis Bin, Mr. Lee, and Hui entering the cafe to collect some papers. Just then, Hui gets a call from her hostel saying the gate is about to close soon. She rushes to leave and asks Louis Bin to inform Mr. Lee that she will come tomorrow instead. But on the way, Hui's phone dies, leaving her with no options. Since she couldn't enter the hostel anymore, she awkwardly goes to Nanja's house and asks if she could stay for one night. Nanja tells her that it's her home too and she can stay whenever she wants. Time skips. Hui comes out after taking a shower and they have a cute moment as Nanja dries her hair. Both of them are very sweet and close. When it comes time to sleep, they decide that Hui will sleep in the room while Nanjia will dance outside through a video call. Since Hui was still sleeping, Nanjia went to make breakfast for her without disturbing her. But he was making so much noise that Hui woke up. She told him to work more quietly since her class was late today, and she wanted to sleep longer because she thought she was still at her hostel. When she realized she was actually at Nanjia's house, she became embarrassed. Hearing Nanjia's footsteps coming up, she pretended to be asleep again, but it didn't work, and Nanjia easily figured it out. He brought her breakfast, and seeing the food, Hui's mouth started watering. She sent Nanjia away to brush his teeth, and afterward, both of them sat down to eat breakfast. Time skips. Hui was going to work when she overheard two girls talking about how someone like Nanjia could be with a weird girl like Hui. But Hui didn't care, and kept working calmly. The girls even tried to annoy her, but it didn't bother her at all. Time skips again. At the cafe, Yang also arrived and ordered coffee, but Louis Bin refused to serve her because he thought she was the girl coming between Hui and Nanjia. Yang tried to argue, but Mr. Lee came and calmly explained the situation. Still upset, Yang left and Louis Bin explained that he understood the emotions involved, but they didn't want Yang interfering. Next scene, Hui and Nanjia are talking, and Hui finally brings up the topic of the dance class and the rumors about Nanjia and Yang. She tells him if it's bothering him, he can quit the dance class, but Nanjia firmly refuses, saying if he leaves now, he would have to wait until the next semester to retake it. Next, we see Hui packing her things and getting ready to move to Nanjia's house. Her friends tease her about it, joking that surely Nanjia must have bribed her somehow. Hui tries to shut them up by offering to pay for their coffee for a month, and they happily agree, helping her move. When Hui reaches Nanjia's place, Louis Bin helps her carry her luggage upstairs, but jokes that he has no energy and needs to recharge. Hui kisses him lightly on the cheek to charge him, creating a cute moment. Scene changes again. Hui and Nanjia are discussing work. Hui is working when someone secretly takes pictures of her, showing obsession. Louis Bin warns that if the customers aren't satisfied, they won't pay, and the lost amount would be deducted from salaries. He tells them to decide if they want the salary or free coffee. Later they notice that Nanjia is sitting there, and all the girls are staring at him. Louis Bin clicks a few good pictures of Nanjia because the ones Hui took earlier weren't very good. One girl comes and asks for pictures of Nanjia, but Hui refuses clearly. Next, we see Shuru sitting with Hui at the cafe. They were talking and discussing how dumb Chabi is and how he doesn't understand anything. Just then, he arrives, and when they follow him and see both of them fighting, Hui says that she has shifted to Dangxia's house, so today they will all have dinner together. Bin feels guilty because he misunderstood Yang Fei, realizing that she had actually removed things from the internet. Then Matali arrives, and they chat about how they came there. Loi Bin goes to take their order, and when he returns with the order, he's asked whether he should have rejected the coffee offer earlier. Loi Bin apologizes for misunderstanding. At that moment, he mistakenly spills a coffee cup. Yinfei says that if he drinks it, she will forgive him. He does so, and seeing this, Yangbei gets suspicious but then forgives him and leaves. After she leaves, Loi Bin wonders why he isn't feeling any effects after drinking the checkup coffee. Mr. Li tells him it's because there was too much water. The scene shifts to Hui and Dangxia's house, where Hui, Dangxia, and others are discussing the potential problems of living together. They suggest that maybe they should live separately, but both of them decide to stay together and continue eating while chatting. After a while, Hui leaves the table, and everyone forces Rai to go after her. Next scene, at the coffee shop, Mr. Li is sitting with Dangxia. When Hui brings coffee, Mr. Li gives her 8 out of 10 marks. Hui becomes very happy. Then he invites her to a gathering of coffee shop owners and asks her to attend. Hui is excited but also nervous about it. After thinking a lot, she agrees. Later, while they are sitting, she is drinking something and talking. Dangxia asks her if she is okay. Hui smiles and says yes, offering him to taste her drink. Dangxia finds it very bitter, and Hui laughs at his expression, saying she had warned him that it might be bitter but also special. As they talk, Dangxia moves closer to her. The next day, the scene shifts. Shuru is at her drama club, and Chabi is there too. After her act ends, Shuru sits somewhere alone, looking tense. The senior notices and asks if she's okay. Just then, she says that she's in love with someone, but he doesn't understand. The senior advises her that instead of running after him, she should focus on herself, knowing that even if she doesn't show it, she must be very sad inside. After she leaves, Chabi also arrives and gives her many drinks, apologizing that he tried a lot but still couldn't understand what was wrong with Shuru. Shuru doesn't explain anything and just says that now he doesn't need to do anything more, he's just a little different. And then she talks to him normally before leaving. Later, Chabi acts funny, pretending to be Shuru's bodyguard, and tells her that a drama is about to happen. Next scene, Dangxia and Hui were at a coffee shop where the seniors were also present. Then suddenly, Shuru and Chabi also arrive. Shuru starts talking with the senior about basketball, which makes Hui jealous. Hui asks Shuru whether she told the senior everything and if everything was okay between them. Shuru replies that nothing is sorted because he simply doesn't want to understand. Hui offers that she and Nancy could talk to Ravi today, but Shuru refuses. Later, everyone gathers for Hui's upcoming coffee-making competition. Hui receives a coffee machine sent by her mom and becomes very happy. She forces Dangxia to sit and drinks lots of coffee herself to practice. However, she ends up irritating him a lot. Finally, Dangxia tells her that she might have drunk too much coffee because now it doesn't taste good anymore, so he suggests they take a break tomorrow, to which Hui happily agrees. But that night, neither of them could sleep because they had to keep going to the washroom. The next day at the coffee shop, Hui's friend compliments her coffee art. On the other side, Loi Bin was also live broadcasting trying to make Hui's coffee famous, but it didn't help because the coffee was still basic. Nevertheless, Hui didn't give up and kept working hard. Dangxia also helped her in many ways. We see several montage scenes where Rui practices making coffee, Preeti and Nancy study for their exams, Jabi practices basketball, and Shuru practices for drama. They all keep motivating each other. Finally, the day of the competition arrives. Dangxia wasn't there with Hui because he had an exam, but Mr. Li accompanied her. Hui was nervous but started making coffee with great effort. Meanwhile, Dangxia was giving his exam. The judges really liked Hui's coffee and they waited for the results. Hui was extremely nervous, but she made it into the top 5, meaning she qualified for the second round. However, Hui wasn't ready and became even more nervous. She left the hall and tried calling Dangxia, but he was still in his exam and couldn't answer. Mr. Li tried to calm her down, telling her to make coffee while thinking about the happiest person and moments in her life. Hui finally gets ready for the competition again, thinking about all her beautiful memories, while Dangxia finishes his exam well, goes to submit it, and completes it just in time. He rushes towards Hui. On the other side, Hui makes a really good coffee, and by the time Nanjian arrives, the judgment was already over. Hui gives him a sweet smile, and now finally, the time for the results comes. But Hui doesn't win any prize. Nanjian becomes very upset about it, but Hui consoles him, saying it's okay. Even reaching the second round was a big achievement. Later, Hui stands with Luo when Nanjian is also there. Just then, an Italian judge from the competition approaches Hui and offers her a job opportunity to work in Italy. The judge also mentions that all her expenses would be fully covered. Hui politely declines, explaining that she and her friends worked so hard to get into their university and she can't just break their shared dream like that. However, the judge gives her a card and tells her that whenever she wants, she can come to Italy. Hui happily accepts the card and notices that Nanjian is also watching her. After the judges leave, Nanjian approaches, but Hui excuses herself and heads to the washroom. Luo and Nancy observe Nanjian looking at Hui with sad eyes, as if he was thinking deeply. Next scene shifts to home, where Nanjian enters and finds Hui standing in front of him with a big smile. When he asks what's going on, Hui simply tells him to come with her. She leads him to the dining table where she had prepared a big meal. Seeing it, Nanjian is both surprised and happy. Hui feeds him with her own hands, and the food turns out to be very delicious, but she also injured herself a bit while cooking. Nanjian tells her not to cook anymore if it hurts her. Scene shifts to the next Monday, where Luo Bin and Jabi were scolding Hui at the cafe for rejecting such a good offer to go to Italy. They tease her, saying if Dangxia knew about it, he would be mad too. But Hui warns them not to tell Dangxia because his competition was coming up soon. At that moment, Dangxia arrives and gives Hui a book to learn Italian, telling her she will definitely go to Italy, and he will go with her. He tells her that he already talked to the judges and he will also compete there. Everyone gets happy hearing that. Jabi jokes that Red Singer always has solutions for every problem. Scene changes where Jabi and the seniors were playing basketball. They invite Jabi for dinner along with Hui and Nanjian. But when they reach the venue and Jabi sees Shuru there, he gets flustered and tries to leave, but before going, he tells 26 that he wants to see everyone succeed, so he is helping. After going inside, Jabi also tells Shuru about it, but Shuru still cannot confess her feelings to him. She just tells him that Nanjian won't be coming today, and after chatting there for a while, she leaves. She then reaches Hui and Nanjian's house, talks to Hui and tells her that her whole life was pre-decided, so now she's confused by Chavi's behavior, whether she actually likes him or not, and she asks Hui not to tell anyone about this before leaving. After she leaves, even when Nanjian asks Hui about it, she says nothing and they end up sharing a cute moment because Nanjian doesn't force her. Scene shifts to Li Bin, who was about to leave but noticed that someone was following Young. So he silently follows too and sees that a man tries to kidnap Young Fei. Li Bin fights the man off and rescues her. Young Fei was very scared, so he comforts her gently and drops her at the hospital, telling her that if she ever needs him, she can always call. Smiling warmly, she tells him he can transfer to their university because his marks are only slightly lower than Hui's, and at least until next year, she'll wait for him. Li Bin becomes happy hearing this and promises he'll come. The next day, he informs his professor that he will participate in the competition, and he becomes very happy. Li Bin's competitors jokingly tease and also befriend him. Scene shifts to home, where Nanjian shows Hui the design he's preparing for the competition. Then they both go out together to find special wood for it. They go to several places, even try to steal some wood once, but get caught by the police. After explaining everything, they are let go with a warning because it was a protected area. Later, they go to a warehouse where Nanjian finds a very old piece of wood and negotiates with the owner. The uncle there questions why he wants such an old and broken piece. So Nanjian answers with a question, asking how old he thinks the wood is. Hui guesses it's 30 years old. Nanjian tells her it's actually 300 years old, and all from the same tree. Hearing this, Hui leans on his shoulder and says she too will stay with him forever like that. Nanjian is seen concentrating very hard on his project, and his friends are observing him. Hui is also present. His friends even bet among themselves that Nanjian will win the competition and go to help him with his work. Later, Hui is seen preparing lunch for everyone at the cafeteria. A boy asks Hui how Nanjian could eat so much food alone, to which Hui replies that it's not just for Nanjian, but also for those who are working hard with him. Meanwhile, back at home, Nanjian is working when the lights suddenly go out, and Hui's scream is heard. He rushes towards Hui's room and finds her coming out of the bathroom, wrapped only in a towel, looking extremely scared. Nanjian quickly turns around and heads back to his room in a panic. Later, they both sit awkwardly on the sofa. Nanjian swears he didn't see anything, but Hui, feeling even more embarrassed, changes the topic and asks Nanjian for answers related to the light switch. He asks her if she remembers, to which Hui nods shyly. Meanwhile, Jabi, who was drunk, was about to kiss Shuru on her forehead while dancing, but just before he could, he lost his balance and almost fell. Shuru quickly holds him up, and seeing his condition, she becomes worried. Scene shifts to the next day, where Hui and Nanjian are at home. Hui is preparing coffee while Nanjian is working on his project. Meanwhile, Jabi wakes up with a heavy hangover and regrets drinking so much. He doesn't even remember much about what happened the previous night. He meets Shuru later and apologizes sincerely, but Shuru just smiles gently and tells him not to worry about it. Although she feels a bit awkward inside, she hides it well and continues to behave normally with him. Meanwhile, Nanjian and Hui are preparing for Hui's final coffee-making competition. They all start gathering evidence to prove that Nanjian had indeed come up with the project idea 2 months earlier. Hui, Nanjian, and their friends search through all the sketches, drafts, and project notes that Nanjian had made. They remember that the cafe's CCTV might have captured the time when Nanjian first discussed and started designing his project. They rush to Mr. Li's cafe and request the CCTV footage. Mr. Li agrees to help and quickly retrieves the old footage. After checking the date and time, they find the clear evidence where Nanjian was sketching his design 2 months ago, long before the plagiarized magazine article appeared. With this proof, they all head back to the competition committee. They submit the CCTV footage and all supporting documents. After a tense wait, the professors and judges review the evidence carefully. Finally, the committee announces that Nanjian has been proven innocent and that he did not plagiarize any work. Nanjian is reinstated into the competition, and the judges apologize to him publicly. Moreover, his project is awarded the first prize, and he is celebrated for his creativity and hard work. Hui and all their friends cheer for him, and Nanjian, overwhelmed with emotions, thanks Hui for never giving up on him. As the award ceremony concludes, Nanjian holds Hui's hand tightly and promises that no matter how tough things get in the future, they will always support each other and stay together, sharing all their moments, just like the trees he represented in his project, will be officially announced soon. Everyone becomes very happy after hearing this news, and Hui feels relieved that Nanjian's innocence will be proved. Meanwhile, the professor calls the competition committee and submits the proof of Nanjian's original project designs, showing the timestamps and clear evidence that the project was created long before the magazine publication. After reviewing everything, The committee agrees that Nanjian had been wrongly accused, and they officially restore his name to the competition. His disqualification is reversed, and the committee sends an apology notice to Nanjian. When this news spreads in the university, all those who previously misunderstood him start feeling guilty. At the celebration, Hui and Nanjian stand together proudly as the real winners. Nanjian thanks Hui sincerely in front of everyone, saying that without her support, he might have given up. In the final scene, the group gathers at the cafe. Everyone is laughing, chatting, and celebrating their friendship and victories. Hui looks around at all her friends and then at Nanjian, feeling grateful for all the moments that brought them here. She quietly promises herself that no matter where life takes them, she will always treasure these memories and keep moving forward together with Nanjian. Their story ends with a bright future ahead, full of love, dreams, and endless possibilities. Don't forget to subscribe for more. Check out more recaps you'll absolutely love right here.